If you cannot silence the voice inside you, one day that voice will speak for you. We begin with this sentence because there is no calm in it, and there is nowhere to run. It does not sound like a threat, it sounds like an observation. That voice inside us, the inner monologue we have tried to suppress for years, does not weaken when ignored. It grows stronger. The most dangerous part is believing it has been silenced, when in reality it has only been postponed. And like everything postponed, it returns with greater force. When the time comes, it does not knock politely. It demands to be heard. If this sentence makes you uneasy, do not rush to silence that feeling. This narrative moves forward precisely through that discomfort. We stay busy during the day, work, obligations, roles, distractions. But beneath all of that movement, a quiet question lingers. It is a question we rarely ask aloud, and often refuse to ask ourselves at all. Where do the thoughts you believe you have silenced actually go? Dostoevsky's writing begins exactly there. In his world, the real tragedy is not what happens to us on the surface, but what we deny within ourselves. No matter what a person experiences externally, the real struggle unfolds in the mind. It is a silent conflict, largely invisible to others, yet capable of slowly eroding a person from the inside. His characters rarely shout. They do not rely on grand declarations. They think, and they think relentlessly. And the more they think, the harder it becomes to endure themselves. That inner voice is not a gentle conscience. It is contradictory, accusatory, and often merciless. At one moment it justifies, and the next it condemns. It can say, "You were right," while simultaneously insisting, "And yet, you are still guilty." This inner tension keeps a person awake at night, trapped not by fear, but by unresolved awareness. Many people recognize this feeling, the unease that appears on an otherwise good day, the sudden weight with no clear cause, the thought dismissed as overthinking that refuses to leave. Dostoevsky focuses not on dramatic crimes, but on the silent moment before them, when nothing has happened yet, but everything has already occurred in the mind. What makes this disturbing is that the inner voice is not always moral. We prefer to believe we are good people, but goodness often depends on being observed. When someone is watching, behavior aligns with expectation. The real question arises in solitude. What remains when no one is there? In those moments, masks loosen, and consciousness stands alone with truths long avoided. The voice shifts from accusation to interrogation, asking quietly but persistently, "Are these beliefs truly yours, or were they borrowed? Is your morality genuine, or shaped by fear?" There is no shouting in these questions, yet they echo deeply. Dostoevsky understands that people seek moral clarity because it simplifies life. Clear lines between right and wrong reduce anxiety. But the inner voice refuses simplicity. It moves in gray areas, pointing directly at what we would rather avoid. Everyone carries thoughts they never share: envy, resentment, fleeting cruelty, private shame. Silencing them does not erase them. They sink deeper, waiting for moments of weakness to resurface. His concern lies in these returns. Moments when a person no longer recognizes themselves, when the mirror reflects unfamiliar possibilities. The voice seems to say, "I was always here," and the person wonders whether listening earlier might have changed everything. Yet this is the paradox. Listening to the inner voice does not guarantee moral action. Sometimes it leads in darker directions. Because the voice is not only conscience, it is also desire, anger, and vengeance. Dostoevsky's characters remain trapped in this dilemma. To suppress the voice is to choose a false calm and slow decay. To listen is to invite painful confrontation and the collapse of comforting self-images. Neither path is innocent. And this is why his work unsettles us, because we recognize both tendencies within ourselves. We want peace, but we fear honesty. We want to see ourselves as good, yet suspect that belief may be the only thing holding us together. What makes this dilemma even more unsettling is that, over time, suppression and listening begin to resemble one another. When a person repeatedly ignores the inner voice, they do not eliminate it, they train themselves to live beside it. Slowly, a strange familiarity forms. The tension becomes routine. Discomfort becomes background noise. And pain, once feared, turns into something predictable. This is where the danger deepens. Because what is predictable feels controllable, and what feels controllable feels safe, even if it is destructive. Dostoevsky understood this quiet transformation. His characters do not always cling to pain because they want to suffer, but because pain has become the only stable reference point in their inner world. When everything else feels uncertain, pain offers a strange sense of continuity. It reminds them who they are, or at least who they have been. And letting go of that pain would mean stepping into a version of themselves they do not recognize. For many, that unfamiliarity feels more frightening than suffering itself. This is why inner conflict does not resolve easily. A person may complain about that turmoil, yet secretly fear its disappearance. Because without it, who would they be? Dostoevsky's characters sense this instability. They hesitate at the edge of healing not because they enjoy despair, but because despair has become integrated into their identity. Even moments of peace feel suspicious, fragile, temporary, something to be interrupted before it disappoints. As a result, people often destroy their own calm without understanding why. A careless word, a needless argument, a sudden withdrawal, small acts that quietly restore the familiar ache. This is not cruelty toward others, but a defense against hope. Hope exposes vulnerability. Hope risks loss. Pain, by contrast, has already revealed its shape. It hurts, but it does not surprise. In this way, pain begins to function not merely as an emotion, but as an organizing principle of the self. It dictates how a person thinks, anticipates, and reacts. And the inner voice adapts accordingly. It no longer only accuses, it reminds. It whispers, "This is where you belong. This is what you know." Breaking away from that voice does not feel like relief, it feels like disintegration. Dostoevsky places his characters precisely at this threshold. They are not simply choosing between good and evil, but between familiarity and uncertainty. To face the voice honestly is to risk losing even the painful stability they have built their identity around. And that risk, for many, feels unbearable. This is why the struggle does not end with awareness. Awareness is only the beginning. The true test lies in whether a person can tolerate the unknown self that emerges when pain no longer dictates every thought. And that, perhaps, is the most difficult courage Dostoevsky demands. Not the courage to suffer, but the courage to exist without hiding behind suffering. Dostoevsky offers no solutions. He widens the crack and steps back. What seeps out is loneliness, doubt, and recognition. The inner voice is not an enemy to destroy, but a dangerous witness to acknowledge. Ignoring it does not weaken it, it strengthens it in the dark. And perhaps the most unsettling truth is this: who we are is shaped most clearly by the choices we make when no one is watching. The human mind excels at self-deception. Suppressed thoughts do not disappear, they transform into restlessness, quiet anger, or unexplainable guilt. Dostoevsky's characters are crushed under this weight because they attempt to escape themselves and fail. That voice knows their history, their weaknesses, and speaks precisely when silence seems complete. For Dostoevsky, freedom does not mean absence of limits. It means confronting one's own darkness. This confrontation is painful, and pain is something modern life teaches us to avoid. Yet some pains do not pass. They remain, and where they remain, they shape identity. Pain becomes familiar. Familiarity feels safe. Even hope can appear dangerous because it carries uncertainty and the risk of loss. When a person grows accustomed to pain, even happiness becomes suspicious. Peace feels temporary, fragile, untrustworthy. And so people often sabotage it, preferring known discomfort over unpredictable relief. This is not cruelty, but defense. Unhappiness becomes home. Silence becomes threatening, because silence invites the inner dialogue, and that dialogue is often harsh. Most people hold private courts within themselves, acting as judge and executioner in solitude. Dostoevsky's strength lies in quietly revealing this reality without moralizing. He does not accuse, he exposes. And once exposed, escape becomes difficult. One begins to question whether pain is fate or a habit unconsciously chosen over time. If this feels uncomfortable, that is not a failure. It means something has been touched. Do not immediately defend yourself. Pause. Listen. That voice inside, ask whether it is truly your enemy or a truth you have avoided. Because the instinct to defend yourself often arrives faster than understanding. The mind rushes to build explanations, excuses, narratives that restore comfort as quickly as possible. But comfort is not the same as truth. The inner voice you are tempted to label as an enemy often speaks precisely at the point where your self-image begins to fracture. It interrupts not because it wants to harm you, but because something unresolved is pressing from beneath. Ignoring that pressure does not remove it, it redirects it. It seeps into decisions, relationships, habits, shaping your life quietly and indirectly. This is why listening is so difficult. Listening requires staying in uncertainty without immediately resolving it. It demands that you tolerate not knowing who you fully are yet. For many, this feels unbearable. Identity built on certainty is fragile, but identity built through confrontation is slow, painful, and honest. The voice does not ask for obedience, it asks for acknowledgement. And acknowledgement does not mean agreement. It means allowing yourself to hear without rushing to judge, correct, or suppress. In that space, uncomfortable, unguided, and unfamiliar, something subtle happens. The voice loses its need to shout. Not because it has been defeated, but because it has finally been met. Perhaps the problem is not silencing it, but learning how to respond to it. Elimination only strengthens it. Questioning it may weaken its control. Dostoevsky does not close these questions for us. He leaves them open, because without such questions, awakening is impossible. So carry this one with you. Do not answer it yet. Let it return throughout the day. If the voice you cannot silence were to truly fall quiet one day, would that be freedom? Or would it take the most truthful part of you with it?